Hello, welcome to This Week in Japan. I'm the Gaijin John.
I'm the Geek Tom.
And together we make up Geeks and Gaijins, and we bring you all the local news and an intro that I tend to overuse from the land of the rising sun.
Let no one say we aren't self-aware.
I think that's the one thing you can say about us, Thomas. We are so aware. Yes, we've become aware. We know you're listening. This isn't the actual John speaking. This is the John in the podcast. But today, on your weekly dose of Japan, we've got cats and earthquakes, stalking and McDonald's, and some parfaits, and some old farts.
Ooh.
So many things. But first of all, Cute Corner. Aww. Yay! And to combo into Cute Corner, also, there was a really big earthquake in Japan, Thomas. Maybe you heard.
Was there really, John?
Yes, who'd have thunk it? I didn't because I was in bed and several and also several hundred kilometers away.
It's classic John strategy of surviving an earthquake, which is be nowhere near it and be asleep.
Okay, so I have just checked how far away, like, the main center of the earthquake was from me. So from Toshiri to Fukushima, it's almost 1,000 kilometers. For our British listeners, that's to Paris and back.
Or how far the proclaimers are willing to walk for you.
No, that's miles, Thomas.
Ah, damn.
You have to times it by 1.6.
It's somewhat under that, then.
But it's still a long way away. So don't worry, I'm fine. 150 people were injured, though luckily I haven't seen any reports of any deaths. But what I have seen reports of are cats being very annoyed at earthquakes.
I mean, you can imagine, can't you? It's annoying for all of us, but especially for cats.
Yep, there is one specific tweet on Japanese Twitter. By the way, whenever I say Japanese Twitter, it is just Twitter. But it's in... There's not like a special Japanese Twitter site. It's just, it doesn't tend to run over. Because, for example, there is this one of a cat just giving the tweeter evils from the corner of the room behind a door with over 100,000 likes. Actually, now it's about 110,000 likes. And translated, it's just, the earthquake seems to be my fault, and the cat won't come near me.
I mean, it can't be anyone else's fault. There's nothing else in that cat's life other than the cat, its food, and you. And so, it's not going to be the cat or the food's fault. It has to be your fault. You shouldn't be doing that.
There is a follow-up tweet with only about 3,000 likes of the person feeding the cat and going, they're enjoying it, but being very cautious.
Of course, you could bribe the cat with food in the end. That was the third aspect of the relationship that I mentioned. They were always going to come out for food in the end.
Something that went perhaps even more viral was a gif of cats sitting on a bed during the earthquake. It's just someone filming their bed during... I don't know if anyone who's listening to this has ever sat through an earthquake. They're not fun. But yeah, it's just these cats... You think they would do something or freak out, but no, they're just... The earthquake itself lasts for like maybe over a minute.
It's a long-ass earthquake.
The two cats are just on the bed, and they just vibing. Like, they do look a bit freaked out, but they're like, oh, what's that? But it'd be like the same as if someone knocked on the door.
The bed will just be vibrating slightly for them. It's nice and soft and fluffy there. It's not an issue.
Yeah. So this earthquake, by the way, guys, is a 7.1 magnitude earthquake. There are lots of theories about it, and there are lots of people spreading rubbish online. But don't worry too much. There's no tsunami that was caused. Some people are even theorizing that it's an afterquake of the really big one, the Tohoku earthquake in 2011 that caused the Fukushima disaster. and
Christ.
just an awful lot of death. But also then some people are theorizing that it is a pre-tremor to something even bigger. And some people are theorizing that Japan will have earthquakes and water is wet.
Yep. They certainly chose a place to live, and earthquakes are part of them. I mean, we've discussed
Indeed.
how the architecture of Japan is deliberately designed around the concept that there will always be earthquakes in Japan.
Pretty darn much. Like, part of the bamboo and wooden structures means that, like, they can shake. And the one more thing that I think was just a little cute that I wanted to highlight to you, Thomas, before we go drudging into the world of, well, Japan for the next half hour. And that is some really cute little badges.
Hey! Love a good badge.
But these are special badges.
Badges, 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 badges.
Thomas, no, bad.
What's so special about the badges, John?
No year 2000 memes before you've finished your vegetables.
I had tomato soup for breakfast. Does that count as a vegetable?
No, it's a fruit, you idiot.
Ah, god damn it! They got me.
And you rolled a critical fail for your intelligence check.
Yep, that sounds
No.
like me.
These are specifically little pins and stamps to put on your mask, because hay fever season is coming up in Japan.
Oh no, not oh god, hay fever, literally the worst. Like, you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, it gets really bad in Japan, and basically these little badges and stamps on the mask are basically to tell you, please don't be terrified of me. I'm not ill. I just can't deal with grass.
Yeah, I feel like that's an important thing to be having at the moment. Is please God, I'm not ill. Just this is normal for me. Please leave me alone.
So they have like two of them. Some of them have like a cute rabbit that's crying. Some of them have a cat. Some of them have a cat that's sad. One of them is actually just like a stamp, as in like a big ink stamp that you stamp on like the disposable masks.
All right.
So this is a Kawasaki-based company that is selling the large and small pins. She started a while ago making things for asthma, for asthmatic people. To basically go, I'm asthmatic, I'm not dying. But in January 2020, she started making versions for people with hay fever. And for some reason, they're becoming really, really popular.
It must have just been a lucky guess on her part. It's purely coincidence.
Yep, and also Tokyo-based handmade goods store Creamer are the one who are making the stamp that just translates to "I've got hay fever," which I really hope you take the mask off first before you do that one. Just like boom. And they have sold about 200 of the stamps, more than 3 times the figure from the same period last year.
Business is booming.
I do love the fact that that is still not a large amount, yet this is in a national newspaper. Like, the little badges are cute, and they've sold about 10,000, which is, like, that's fun, that's news. The big stamp thing is, like, another company sold about 200 of the things. Like, okay.
Well, that's nice to know. Good for them. Here, have a gold star.
Good for you. But yes, I actually might buy these because I do get quite bad hay fever, and I can make my students, and I can tell my students without having to stop talking and going, yes, I am dying. No, I will be fine.
That is how it feels.
But now, another way to feel like you're dying, but not dying, because we have Crime Corner. But there's no dying. There's no dying in this week's Crime Corner. I promise. Just some really, really terrifying stuff.
It's not murder, but, it's not exactly light either.
Yeah, so this one coming from our friends at Sora News 24. A 21-year-old Nara woman arrested for sending hundreds of nude selfies to a woman in her 70s.
You do not hear that sort of headline very often, John. That is that's a new one to me.
Yes. So the story is a woman has been arrested on suspicion of violating the Stalker Control Act because she was said to be infatuated with a former co-worker that she's known since 2019. And the former co-worker is a woman in her 70s. And this former co-worker recently went to the police to prevent evidence of 293 messages on her mobile phone, which contained nude photos as well as other obscene content. So how these 293 messages were sent in the span of only about a month, from the 23rd of September to 15th of October. So I'm pretty sure there's more.
Sounds like this woman's been very, very busy.
Yes. I suppose there's not much to do in Nara.
Everyone's stuck indoors, John. You can't really go outside. As we know, it's just been a time where everyone's decided to take up stalking as a hobby these days. It's just what you do to pass the time.
I mean, there are deer outside. There are really fat deer. What can I do except take naked pictures?
There's a coronavirus going around. You've got gangs of deer roaming the streets looking for food. You just got to stay indoors and try and wait it out. And if your way of passing the time is harassing a coworker by sending them a bunch of pictures, just really trying to slide into someone's granny's DMs. Actually, maybe don't do that. That's probably a terrible idea. You should not be doing that.
Thomas, please don't encourage stalking. And you can send any messages to Tom at Geeks&Gaijin on Twitter.
Oh, dear.
Okay, so part of this is just a little... it feels like the suspect who's been arrested, it seems just a bit sad. She said that her mother didn't show her much affection growing up, and that the victim who she was sending all these photos to taught me kindly, and I grew to like her. And apparently, the suspect still likes the woman who she sent all these mails, because it felt good to spoil her.
Oh, dear. Yeah, you can tell from the headline alone that this woman clearly had some issues that she has not been properly dealing with. But,
yes.
And that's basically what you might have guessed. But yeah, this is definitely not the right way to go about solving that. Clearly, she just needs to talking.
She's been doing this for about at least a year, though, because apparently the woman had contacted the police in spring last year about another naked photo incident, on which the police issued a warning to the suspect over the phone. Those... just... Sorry, I shouldn't laugh or make jokes. I feel really bad, but it's just like, no. Don't. I'm just imagining this 50-year-old Japanese desk police sergeant calling up a deputy. Madam, please stop sending my grandmother nudes.
I mean, what a day at the office that would have been. I'm sure that was something to talk around the donuts that day.
I really hope they don't, because if there's anything worse than this, it's imagining Japanese policemen talking about it.
I mean, they gotta have something to talk about whilst they're hiding under the tarp. It's just, like I said, everyone's looking for a way to pass the time these days.
Well, apparently, one way someone has chosen to pass the time, that someone being the ex-head of McDonald's Japan, a man called Eiko Harada, has been arrested because his use of this time was apparently to kick his wife. And, if one source that I have is to be believed, also hit her with a practice golf club as well.
Christ.
Yep, so this is Eiko Harada. He was, before he was head of Japan McDonald's, he was head of Japan Apple
Oh.
from 1997 to 2004.
With a stellar employee record there.
Exactly, and he, despite the fact his English Wikipedia page doesn't seem to have been updated since 2013, he left McDonald's in 2013. Well, he left as CEO in 2013. And he is, since December in 2019, been serving as chairman of Gongcha Japan, part of a Taiwanese bubble tea chain. And also, his wife is also quite a famous J-pop singer as well.
Oh!
She's 55 years old, a woman by the name Yumi Tanemura, who later telephoned police. He's been accused of assault, which he denies, according to Shibuya police station. So yeah, there is not much more to go, because it is hot off the presses. But currently, Gongcha are confirming the facts at the moment. The thing is, Thomas, it's just crazy. You just get cancelled for doing something like beating your wife. Can you do nothing anymore?
I tell you what, John, I'm not loving it.
Also, once again, Thomas, golf. Why do all these people love golf?
It's a psychopath sport, John. I think we can all agree at this point that there's no good reason to get into golf if you're mentally stable, which is probably why I should try taking up again, but still.
So what you're saying, Thomas, if you gave Rory McIlroy any power, he'd create the new Khmer Rouge, yes?
I think it's fair to say, John, that all these people are a few par over a birdie, if you know what I'm talking about. Which I hope you do, because I certainly don't. Because I don't do golf, because I'm not a psychopath.
The only thing I know from golf comes from Wii Sports. Represent. I still couldn't ever do any of that game. I still don't know what the rules of baseball are.
You gotta hit the ball really hard, just as hard as possible at the right time, and then there's some running around. Basically, it's just rounders, but more complicated, and I feel like America took a back step on that one.
I'm sure all the Americans listening will love you to hear. Will love to hear you calling the national pastime just rounders with more steps.
I've already gone on record as saying baseball is a bad sport. They're free to come at me for that. I'm willing to be cancelled for saying baseball is bad, because I'm pretty sure that's not that unpopular an opinion. I think most people can agree that baseball, objectively bad. Not as bad as golf. We all agree that golf is the worst sport. But baseball, not that much higher. Not like psychopath territory, but maybe sort of like disassociating from reality, kind of that sort of level. I think that's where we're at here.
I do just kind of want to show an American pictures of like rounders and netball. And then go, wait, what are these things?
They're just standing there. Move!
No. You're not allowed.
I think we can all agree that the British know how to make good sports. They can't play them for shit, but they're okay at making up sports. Or at the very least, they're very good at forcing other people to play that sport, so all of the sports are eradicated from history. It's one of the two. And
you know what we're really good at, Thomas? Making really bad versions of a very popular snack in Japan. Because it's Snack Break. Hey. And this week, we are delving into the wonderful world of parfaits. Parfaits. Now, first of all, this would be the section where we put the Starbucks Valentine's Frappuccino. If I had one! Because they're all sold out. They're all sold out. I went to Starbucks like twice, like before Valentine's Day as well. They're all gone. Everybody's dead. They're all gone. They're all gone, Dave. Thomas. Yeah, it's...
I think what actually happened is that John turned up to a Starbucks on his own, and then the people at the counter were just like, it's not for him, folks. You shouldn't give him one of those Valentines. Look at him. He's clearly single.
That's just mean.
No, I'm sure they were all sold out. I'm sure the Valentine's Day is just really popular in Japan, and everyone was going for the cappuccinos or whatever they are.
Well, it's
fine.
They were double chocolate on chocolate frappuccinos.
Okay, yeah, no, I think anyone would get those just because. That sounds crazy.
Exactly, but I didn't get one. What I did get instead was a parfait. Now, this was not from Starbucks. This was from a local fruit cafe that is famous for like its fruit sandwiches and parfaits, and I got a parfait with a cup of coffee. Now, for some of our English listeners at the moment, depending on where you are in the world, you will have a very different image in your head when I said the word parfait. Now, Thomas, what do you think a parfait is?
You know, I'm glad you asked me this question, John, because I've thought long and hard on the situation of parfaits. I've studied them intricately through all my life. And, you know, I think I'm doing very well with my studies of the parfaits. And if I can just quickly look at the images you sent me earlier today, I'll know what... there we are. There's lots of fruit, John. There's lots of fruit, and it's like an ice cream.
In the USA and in Japan, a parfait is kind of like an ice cream sundae. It's ice cream and fruit or chocolate and cream and that kind of stuff, like granola. Yeah. Now, there'll be Americans and people sitting at home and going, why does he have to explain a parfait? That's because in the UK, we use the term parfait to also describe basically a sort of pate. So maybe, Thomas, you've eaten before chicken liver parfait.
I'm not fancy enough for that, John. You know I'm not from that stock. Come on, let's be real here.
It's basically pate. It's a different form of pate, but we call it parfait because... reasons. It's because the original...
Screw the French.
Well, no, it's because the original French parfait is different to the American parfait. A French parfait is a kind of like egg pudding.
Oh, yeah.
It's its own kind of mousse thing. Whereas American is the American style parfait, which is the one they have in Japan, is the style of like what I'd call a sundae. Or something. And so that's what I had. Because Japan loves its parfaits, and you can find the picture of this. You can find a picture of this on my Instagram at the Gaijin John. I've actually already uploaded this one because it was what I did on Valentine's Day. I went to a history museum and I ate a parfait. It's like, from what I see, it's an absolute win.
Going on a date with yourself, it's the best way to spend a Valentine's Day. What kind of history museum was it, John?
It was a local history museum of the local area. It was great. Nice. There were also, obviously, a group of old men in the corner with a model railway set.
Oh, perfect! Yes! That's the right way to spend Valentine's Day. Model train.
That was not part of the museum. I think they just used that space. It was in the old city hall, so the building was like falling apart, but it was really great. But the parfait itself was really good. This was a special cafe that does loads of fruit and stuff. So they'd like decorated the top. The apple turned into like a feather crest. It was just amazing. And it had pear and dragon fruit and then cream and ice cream and 2 different kinds of ice cream. And then also like frosted flakes in the middle, and then like cake, and then like jam at the bottom. It was amazing, and I felt quite guilty after eating it, but yeah, it was really, really good. Japan does its parfaits good. Yeah, so that was a brief history of 1, my Valentine's Day, and 2, parfaits. I give it a fun parfait day out of 10. Literally, the definitions of parfait are: number 1, a rich cold dessert made with whipped cream, eggs, and fruit. So none of these had eggs in it, I don't think, because I think that's the original parfait. And number 2, a rich pate with a very smooth consistency. One of these things is not like the other.
Language, gotta love it.
Nom 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 nom. But now, what you don't gotta love, it's an update.
Update time!
Update time.
Please, God, let it be the last one. It won't be.
We both know it won't be, Thomas.
These goddamn Olympics are going to go on forever.
And not actually go on at all. Yes, so if you listen to the last podcast and also listen to my addendum that I had to record on the day of release, this is Yoshiro Mori, who has resigned as head of the Tokyo Olympics. His official announcement came on Friday, in which he managed to put even more of his foot in his mouth than we even thought was possible.
She's going full Ouroboros on himself at this point.
He should really ask his dentist to check for athlete's foot.
If his feet go any further into his mouth, then he's somehow going to end up eating his own head because it's so stuck so far up his own ass.
Yeah, so basically what he did is he repeated his complaints that, they were said by other people. It wasn't me. I was just repeating. The other boys did it. The other boys said it. And also that he doesn't speak to women much. Mori. We can tell.
Like, nothing he said is in any way surprising. We all believe what he's saying is true. It's just not excusable in the slightest. It's not a defense.
But what he did do before he resigned was meet with another man. This is a man called Kawabuchi, Saburo Kawabuchi, who is 84 years old, a whole year older than Mori. He is also a sports administrator. He is the mayor of the Olympic Village, and also is just generally part of the football world of Japan, or soccer, as it were. Who is not much better. But after a huge amount of furore after Mori trying to pick his own replacement, Saburo Kawabuchi said, I'm gonna go with no.
Yeah, I feel like there was enough people who were already angry at Mori, and they were very, very willing to immediately turn that on Kawabuchi, considering Kawabuchi's own track record.
Yeah, we're not going to go into his track record because we're not making this podcast the dismantle 80-year-old Japanese politicians.
You know they're wrong. We know they're wrong. Let's leave it at that.
Yes, do your own research at home. It's fine. But yes, oh dear. But no, after over 140,000 signatures and just more and more, Mori finally has stepped down. But now, who are we going to have as a replacement? Because the favourite was Saburo Kawabuchi, who, of course, is as racist and as sexist as we all expect an 84-year-old man in Japanese sport to be. But surprisingly, people have been asking that perhaps the person who should be in charge of the Olympics is perhaps a woman. Shock.
Where'd they get that idea from? I don't see where that's coming from at all. That seems a bit out of the blue to me.
I know. And the thing is, they actually have a set of quite good candidates, including the current Olympics minister, Seiko Hashimoto, who is an ex-athlete and currently 56. She took part in both the Summer and Winter Olympics, a total of 7 times, for speed skating and cycling. And also she has been vice president of the Japanese Olympic Committee. So she's she's qualified for other roles, Thomas.
I don't know, John. I feel like she sounds a little overqualified. Have we got any, 70-year-old men who have no business being there that can do it instead?
Well, possibly, because one of the other of the...
I shouldn't have said that sarcastically. Of course there are. Of course, there's so many.
Because one of the actual other favourites that Japanese TV is talking about, which I'm not joking, is old friend of the podcast, Shinzo Abe.
Yes, the man notoriously unwilling to even dress up as Mario for the Olympics that one time. I'm sure he's eager to join in the fray again. Isn't he also, really sick at the moment? Or has he gone over that again?
No, he's just too sick to be Prime Minister,
but
Thomas,
not...
Because he's...
But not the Olympics. Because that's a completely stress-free environment for him to recover in.
Well... He's still the equivalent of an MP here in Japan. He's still the equivalent of a member in the House of Representatives. So he's not retired in any set. He's just not being Prime Minister right now.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So the other possible replacement that people were talking about was also a man called Taro Aso, who was an 80-year-old ex-Prime Minister who everyone hates. As well. It likely won't be him, though he is the current Deputy Prime Minister.
Considering we already have established the high turnover rate of Japanese Prime Ministers because almost every single one of them is massively unpopular within a year of them becoming Prime Minister, I think we can just forego the putting ex-Prime Minister who is massively unpopular. We know they're ex-Prime Ministers in Japan. They're all massively unpopular.
Yeah. So the main person who the Mainichi are saying might replace him is Seiko Hashimoto. There are lots of other candidates, including Tamayo Marukawa, who used to serve as Olympics minister from 2016 to 2017, though they might be seen as a replacement that's then used for Seiko Hashimoto, because it is seen as problematic. I still can't work out why, but some people say that it would be viewed as problematic for her to both be cabinet minister and head of the Tokyo Olympic Organizing Committee. I don't know. I feel like she's the Olympics minister, but what do I know?
I'm going to speculate that these concerns have been raised by people who would rather she not have either role whatsoever. But
yeah,
I'm sure we can figure something out.
And that was some people thinking about, well, what Abe, if they give it to Abe, would he have to then resign if we follow that logic, would he then have to resign as his MP, as representing Yamaguchi? Well, his little part of Yamaguchi.
Somehow, I don't think that would have come up, actually.
Yeah, I know. It's just a shock. Who'da thunk it?
I'm sure the very, very sick Shinzo Abe, who can't possibly do the job of being Prime Minister, can still manage to be a Member of Parliament and also run the Olympics. I'm sure that'll be fine. I'm sure that'll be no extra strain on him whatsoever. Now, this woman, however, not so sure about that. I don't see where people think she'll have the time or the energy. I don't see it. I don't see it, John. It's unrealistic.
The thing is, at least we can look at some of this positively, that Mori has resigned, the pressure didn't end.
Hey, a major politician is facing some accountability. That's nice to see.
Yeah, and generally it was really nice to see in the popular discourse in Japan to go, hey, no, this is one of the really bad ways that we don't like to be seen by the world. How can we change this? And so there are reports now about women in governing bodies, but there are lots of people hoping that this does draw attention to the fact this is a systematic problem. It's not, we got him. Mission accomplished, boys. All sexism is sold forever.
We got him. We got Mr. Sexism.
And thus, sexism was sold forever.
That's what we didn't realise, guys. It was that all across the world, women have been living in suffering for so long just because we haven't taken out Mori yet. He's been hiding away in Japan, spreading misogyny across the world from his position as Tokyo Olympics chief.
Thomas, are you just describing the plot of the next Metal Gear Solid game?
I mean, wow, Kojima was never one for like political subtlety, but Konami really threw it out of the window after he left the project. I mean, I don't know where they get their ideas from these days.
To be honest, neither do I.
Still isn't worse than Metal Gear Survive, so there's that.
Yeah, so generally, Japan has tried to set guidelines for sports governing bodies to try and encourage like women to get involved. Try and encourage women to get involved. The main issue that lots of people are saying is this is not. A lot of these targets are at upper layers. They're at like directors. They're like counselors. But then the situation is that generally like there's a lot of limited opportunities for women to get experience as coaches in sports or get involved in like smaller positions of decision making, and so like inequality just remains because the only people who get an opportunity at career advancement are men. So at least it's being addressed is what I can say, but yeah.
It's clearly the solution to this problem is more female CEOs. We know that's how this works. Come on, Japan. Let's get it done.
And also Japan is hoping to start the vaccine soon. Or has started apparently today.
Way!
As in the day we are recording this, which is Monday the 15th of February.
A little behind, but sure thing. It's better late than never.
Indeed. And more people in Japan are now trusting of the vaccine, at least. So that's good.
Way! Will you be getting your vaccine in Japan, John?
It totally depends. I have no clue. They have stated that foreign residents will be vaccinated at the same time as Japanese people. Like, of the same level. So, their first plan is to vaccinate medical personnel, then people over 75, which is a good, like, or over 60, which is a good quarter of the country.
Oh man, I forgot just how bad it was. That's a whole different problem that Japan has to face, which is that a quarter of their population is automatically at risk. Oh dear. But yeah, you're a healthy young lad, John. You can wait a little longer.
However, it's still a thing. Though I am a teacher, I'm still kind of concerned. I don't know if this thing in the UK. I know this because there's lockdown. Why teachers aren't considered? I know everyone will say this about their profession. Why aren't we considered essential workers? Why aren't we considered essential workers? It's like, I literally teach and see hundreds of kids a day in a small environment that go home to all their families. It's just like, it's insane.
I mean, if you look at the UK, I can give you two reasons. The sensible reason, you could argue, is that teachers do have the capacity to teach from home if necessary. That's not something they've really been doing in Japan, or at least you haven't been doing, John.
No, not at all. Almost not at all.
But I know my brother's been at home since the most recent lockdown. So you could, in theory, say that teachers don't need the vaccine as urgently because they can work from home. However, if I'm being real, if you've seen any of the commentary on when we should open schools in the UK, it's that people just don't care about teachers, which we've known for quite some time. But the pandemic has made it even clear that people do not give a about teachers in this country.
Why won't they die? Why won't they die so I don't have to deal with my children?
Oh dear. I genuinely hope that the people of this country have enough sense, because I hear enough complaints about people complaining about having to teach their own kids or look after them whilst they're at home or whilst learning, that I hope they understand just how hard teachers have to work and realise that they are woefully undercompensated for their time and effort already.
Nope. I'm going to go with a nope, and no.
And I do get the impression that, the media is not on the teacher's side, so that message will not reach most people.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, what can you do? Not a lot. Give good vibes to your teachers, ladies and gents, and also who are apparently stealing both your child's childhood and their future at the same time. Yeah, this is a podcast about Japan. Cats hate earthquakes. Specifically, if you liked listening to us talk about Japan, you can find this podcast on all Spotify, iTunes. I assume you found it to be able to listen to it, but we are generally everywhere where podcasts are available. If we are not on a platform and you would like us to be, please email us at geeksandgaijins@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter, GGGaijins, or Facebook, Geeks and Gaijins, or just generally everywhere as Geeks and Gaijins. We also occasionally stream on Twitch when we have the time. We are, guess what? Geeks and Gaijins. And we are watching and playing and just generally enjoying the mess that is Danganronpa V3. And yeah, Thomas, do you have anything left to tell the people at homes?
Stay safe out there, and just keep on keeping on. I appreciate quite a few people probably had a rough day yesterday, or the 14th, when you'll be listening to this. But just keep it going. It's okay.
Keep on fighting the Japanese patriarchy, because we're winning.
I'll never forgive the Japanese!
And stay away from earthquakes. Do not get in a bathtub if there's an earthquake about to happen. I don't know how you're supposed to know an earthquake's about to happen, but just avoid bathtubs in general, I guess, is the takeaway from that.
Well, apparently we've learned from this podcast, if your cat is giving you evils, it's because it's blaming you for an earthquake that might just be happening.
Don't harass your cats with earthquakes, folks. It's not nice. It's very rude. It's what's considered in cat culture a dick move.
And we'll see you next week, and your cats, in Japan.